So I needed a day or so to kind of soak in what happened this weekend with Tank Davis and Lamont Roach. And, in my whole life, I have never, ever been a conspiracy theorist about sports. But today, I got to put the aluminum hat on. I got to put the foil hat on because just a lot of stuff did not make sense during this fight. First of all, the betting odds were so much in favor of Tank Davis that for $1,800 bet, you only won $100. It also I didn't understand. Tank has a 93% knockout rate. 93%. Lamont Roach, out of 28 fights, has 10 knockouts. And if you were watching that fight, Tank Davis was walking through his punches. I'm not saying Lamont Roach connected several times, but by no means, I don't think that he ever rocked him at all. Like, I don't think that he rocked him. He didn't ever seem hurt at all. And I know for a fact that it's plenty fighters that Tank fought that hits harder than Lamont Roach. Let's keep it a buck. Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, Issa Cruz are all hard hitters. And at no point did Tank stop throwing punches when he fought these dudes. None of it makes sense to me why Tank wouldn't just absorb them weak punches and go for the knockout. And none of it makes sense to me. And it seemed like the take a knee just added on to the controversy. And let's be clear, it was not a knockdown. It was not a knockdown. If you take a knee without any contact, how would you say that's a knockdown? This is nothing like the Zab Judah Mayweather, because that was a knockdown. Zab punched him. Mayweather stumbled back. Hand grazed the canvas. Technically, that's a knockdown. But this wasn't the same. This was not the same. He stopped, took a knee, went to his corner, got some water in his eyes, and he continued to fight. At no point did he ever get hit. Was he ever hurt? Or nothing like that. So I'm not buying that, theory that it was a knockdown because it wasn't a standing 8. I just can't agree with that. Now, what I will say that looked a little different to me than a lot of other fights that Tank has had is, Tank takes about 4 or 5 rounds to figure you out. And I don't think that Lamont Roach gave him much to figure out on. He didn't throw a lot of punches as well in those early rounds. So I think that Tank didn't have that problem solving, issue that goes through his head with figuring out how I'm going to defeat you. I don't think he ever did that. I also thought that Roach was dictating that fight, and Tank allowed him to dictate that fight. I never seen Tank throw as few punches as he did during this fight. He was connecting when he wanted to connect, but he just wasn't throwing punches. And that's why I had this on. It just seems weird. It don't make sense to me. I don't get it. But what this does mean is now that Lamont Roach, even with the draw, you got to put him in the pool with Shakur Stevenson. You got to put him in the pool now again for a rematch with Tank Davis. And you also have to put him in the ring, a possibility to fight Keyshawn Davis. At best, this draw opened up the door for him. And now we got at least 4 fighters at 135 that can bring some entertainment. And this is why I put the aluminum foil hat on. Was all this done on purpose? Is what I ask. Because none of it makes sense. After Tank even lost, his whole demeanor, after Tank had the draw, he didn't even seem upset. He brushed it off. it just didn't seem right. You know, he's playing with Roach's son. It was weird. Like none of it, like I said, none of it made sense to me. And I think they're friends, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So again, it's just really odd how this fight played its part. And I'm kind of calling bullshit on it. You know, I think it seems to be more incentive, in my opinion, to have this draw. Because, like I said, it now opens up another fighter at 135. And they needed more talent in that pool in order for Tank Davis to stay in that weight class. And I don't think that he can move up in weight. I don't think that he's naturally a bigger fighter. So 135 is really at his comfort zone. If he starts fighting at 140, you know, he's going to start going up against fighters that probably come in the ring at 155, 160. And I don't think that he wants to venture off, you know, into those types of size fighters, which is why he always asks for a rehydration clause. You know, outside of my conspiracy theories, like I said, I do think that Tank started to get frustrated in the late rounds. I don't know if he thought that the outcome would be different. And this is minus my conspiracy theories. You know, if I'm looking at it straight boxing, you know, I think, again, like I said in the past, the first 4 rounds, Lamont Roach wasn't throwing a lot of punches. He wasn't showing a lot of patterns that Tank could catch up on and connect and start dominating the fight. I don't think that happened, which is a lot different from a lot of Tank fights. You know, I think that Lamont Roach dictated the fight a lot with his soft, he was pity patting a lot. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of hard punches that connected for him to make Tank back up the way he did. You know, because like I said, I named 3 fighters already who hit hard, and Tank didn't have the same approach. If Tank would have fought like this against Ryan Garcia, it would make more sense to me. Ryan Garcia is a knockout specialist. Issa Cruz hits hard. Rolly Romero hits hard. That would make sense to me. But to not throw punches against a guy who doesn't hit hard just don't make sense to me. And maybe he took the fight light. You know, maybe he fell back some and just thought that he could knock him out whenever he wanted to. But that ain't really Tank fighting style. You know, none of this makes sense to me. But I'd like to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. You know, do you think this is a legit fight? Should we see a rematch? You know, I think Tank said he had somebody else in store, but this should be an immediate rematch. And was the draw thrown out there to give a rematch, to give more money, to make more money for a rematch fight? I don't know. I'm a little disappointed in this fight, but it's what it is, and we'll see if there's a rematch. We'll see what's up with Tank on his next fight. Let me know what you think. Until next time, I am out.